Hi friends, welcome to Love and Life's Journey DIY. I'm Chantel. Thank you so much for watching. I love using natural items in home decor. I think it's really fun to bring the outside into your house. And so today I'm going to show you some DIYs using some items that you can get for free to create high-end decor for your home. I'm going to take my Dollar Tree container, little planter that I got back when it was still $1.25, and I'm going to go get some rocks. Out here where I live in the country, we have no shortage of rocks. They're not even pretty rocks. Why couldn't they be pretty rocks? Alright, that ought to do. That's plenty heavy that I need to carry it with both hands. So after a windstorm, I found this branch, and it's a good size, and I think it's going to work for this project. I am going to need to cut it down just a little bit shorter, but I'm going to get this all cleaned off, the dead leaves cleaned off of it, and cut it down and put it in my planter. So I'm going to figure out about how tall I need this to be. I think I'm going to go something like that, maybe right above this big old knot. Mark that, and I'm going to use my miter box and saw to cut this off. I am going to take all these dry dead leaves off, but I'm going to try and leave the little branches for now. I may not leave all of them, but I'll decide that in a little bit. I'm just going to place my big branch here in my planter and start placing the rocks around it to hold it in place. And it's okay that the rocks are ugly because they're going to get covered up. In fact, I'm going to need some more. Alright, so I kind of use the rocks just to wedge them in all around the little trunk of my tree. So like I said, I'm just going to remove all of these dead leaves carefully. The big question is, why didn't I get a garbage bag or something to put those in instead of throwing them on the ground where now I have to pick them up again? Okay, so I have my little twiggy stick tree, and I'm going to attempt to turn this into a ficus tree. So I had these ficus leaves or branches left over from Emily's wedding, from the florals that I did. So I'm going to be using these. I got these from the website Love Sola Flowers. I think I'll link it below. They are priced right now at $8 a bundle, and this is just a few less than a full bundle. I'm hoping I can do this with this because this is all I have left from the wedding. But if you wanted a bigger or fuller tree, then you might want 2 bundles of these ficus branches. And so I'm going to see about attaching these and making this look like a tree. This is what one branch is like, and I think I can separate each one into 3 and make these go quite a bit farther than if I just used one, because I'll be able to manipulate where I put them on the tree better if I separate them. So I'm going to be using some wire cutters to trim those down. I'm also going to be using some hot glue. I always have Gorilla glue sticks in my hot glue gun. They just are a stronger bond. And then I'm also going to be using, I think, some of this floral tape. I kind of wish I had brown, but I don't. And this is all about a budget-friendly DIY. So I'm just going to use what I have, and then I'm going to use paint to make it all blend in. That's the plan. So if your branch doesn't want to stand up, isn't real solid in here, you could put some floral foam in the bottom and push this down into that, and then kind of put your rocks all around it. But mine's pretty sturdy, I think, for now. I'm going to leave it like this. If it doesn't want to stand up, I can still take these out and add floral foam or something else after I've put the leaves on, so not a problem, but I'm going to try it like this. Okay, so I am going to bend my stem a little bit to get it to go the direction that I want, because I kind of want to fill in this middle part to make this look a little bit straighter. I'm going to use a little bit of glue. Do have to hold it for a little bit to get it to set up for. Once the glue is set or partially set, I'm going to take some floral tape and wrap around this just to help secure it. And like I said, you can get brown floral tape. I just don't have any. I'm trying to use the things that I do have and not buy new or other things. So I am going to be using some paint to disguise this floral tape a little bit. All right, that seems pretty secure. And now I'm just going to start building my tree and adding on leaves. And you can take these and kind of twist them so that the leaves aren't all going one direction. Makes it look a little bit more natural. Okay, I got 2 branches left. I think I'm going to put one over here and the other one up here, and then it will just have to do. Okay, I think I am liking the looks of that. So now that I have my leaves on, I need to kind of disguise my floral tape, and I'm going to be using just some colors of paint that I have that I think will work well. We're going to test it out and see, but this one is called Fawn, and it's kind of a grayish color, and then just a darker brown. I'm going to start out with the darker brown color. And I'm just going to paint over. I'm not worried too much about some of the green showing through, just because, you know, there's some green in the branches, so that's okay. I just don't want it to look like green floral tape. It's already looking a little bit more disguised. And when I add the lighter color in, I think it's really just kind of going to make that tape disappear. And I am painting down a little bit more on the branches, not just the tape, just kind of like on either side of the tape, going up and down the actual real wood branches so that it helps to blend it in. So you can see now it just looks mostly dark brown. But we're going to add some texture to it in a minute and make that disappear. Okay, now that my dark brown paint is dry, I'm going to take the fawn colored paint and I'm going to use just kind of an old brush and just kind of dab here and there with just a little bit of paint, kind of like dry brushing with maybe a little bit more paint. And again, I'm going a little ways up the stem and down the stem from where the floral tape is, just to help blend it in. This fawn color, I think, is great color. I don't even know where I got it or what brand this is. Craft Essentials. Oh, it's Joanne Fabrics. Oh, well, not getting that anymore. It's perfect for this, though. Now you can't even tell that that's floral tape. I am super happy with that. I'm going to finish this off with some Spanish moss. This is some that I got at Walmart. You can get a smaller bag for about $5.50. That will be more than enough to do this, but this is what I had on hand, so I'm going to use this.
You can also get different colors and types of moss at Dollar Tree.
And actually, this is probably more than I even need because I could fluff it up really well. But I think that looks great. I like the green. It kind of ties in with the leaves and it gives a contrast to both my planter and the little trunk of my tree.
My tree is about 4.5 feet tall, and I do realize it's a little sparse looking because this is all the leaves that I had. I would probably have put more in there if I had had them, but I still like the way it looks, and this gives you an idea how to make a really budget-friendly tree for your home using some items from nature that you can get for free.
For this project, I will be using some of these sticks that I picked up in my yard after a windstorm. I picked some smaller sized sticks, the smaller in diameter size, because I am using a small wood frame. This is just from Dollar Tree, a little wall decor piece. If you were going to use a large picture frame, then you might want to choose a little bit bigger sticks or maybe do a combination of smaller ones and larger ones. But since I'm using a small frame, I'm going to use mostly smaller ones. I'll also be using a little bit of this antique wax. You could use some stain or even just some acrylic paint, and then a hot glue gun to attach my sticks, and that's basically it. So let's get started with this project. I am going to remove the back of this so that I only have the frame. That's all I'll be using for this project. So I think that I can use a heat gun to loosen some of this glue, and I'll be able to just kind of carefully pop that out. This is just a staple remover, but it is one of my favorite tools for crafting. I use it all the time. It is linked below in my favorite crafting tools if you want to check that out. But it just works really good for prying up things like this or getting underneath things. This frame is pretty similar in color to my sticks, and I want it to have a little bit more contrast. If you wanted it to be more of the same color, then you could just leave it. But if you wanted to have it contrast more, then you could paint it or stain it. I am going to use this antique wax that's going to act kind of like a stain on this. You could paint this black for a more modern look, or you could paint your frame white if you're wanting a little bit more farmhouse look. But I think I'm going to go with the staining route this time. I'm going to wipe the excess off just so it's not quite so dark. You can always go over it with a second coat if you want to, but I prefer to start out a little bit lighter and work up to a darker color. I think I kind of like that color though. Next, I am going to use these miter shears, also another one of my favorite tools. These are linked below as well. I just got mine on Amazon, but these cut through dowels and small wood sticks and everything really well. They call them miter shears because you can set them at an angle and cut things at an angle, which can be really helpful. But I think these are an amazing tool. So I am going to take my sticks and basically I am cutting them the size of the inside of my frame, and I will be gluing them in here to make it look like a little forest sort of. So first I will just get a nice straight cut. See how easy that was? Oh, love these. And it is kind of cool to add some that have little sticks coming off of the side. That just adds some more interest to it. Also adding some at an angle or that curve adds more interest to than just having all of the sticks be straight. Okay, I think that's going to be enough, so I am going to start gluing them in. So I am really happy with how my little branches look. However, I was expecting there to be more contrast between my branches and my frame. So I'm trying to decide if I want to change it. Do I want to make my frame darker? Do I want to paint it black? Do I want to paint it white? Let me know in the comments what you think. I'm going to leave it this way for now, and see what all of you think. But I really like how the branches look in here. And if you want to hang it, you can add a hanger on the back, or maybe I'll just use it to set on a shelf since this one is small. So I have seen some larger pieces like this for sale, a lot of them on Etsy, and they're pretty pricey. So you can make your own, and you can make it any size you want. You could pick up a large frame at a thrift store and make a large wall art piece, or do like I did and just make a small one. You could make a set of these, but I think they are just really interesting and pretty in their own natural way.
If you watched my craft room declutter and organization video from last month, you know that I said I'd be giving away a Dollar Tree mystery box, and I would be announcing the winner in my first video of August, which is this video, and I will be doing that in a moment. But I did want to say, if you missed that video, it is too late to comment and get in on the giveaway, but it is a fun transformation, and if you'd like to see that, then be sure to click on the link above or in the description box below to see my craft room go from complete chaos to a fun, organized space to craft in. But now I want to say congratulations to Deborah Ryan. She is the winner of the Dollar Tree Mystery Box, and I will be sending that her way. And thank you to all of you who watched the video and who commented on it. I so appreciate you. And we do have one more DIY to do here in this video, so let's get to that now.
A couple weeks ago, Chris and I went to one of our favorite places to get away. It's called the Hearthstone Elegant Lodge. It's in Kamei, Idaho, and I will put a link to it in the description box in case you want to check it out. Just a beautiful place to go on the Clearwater River in the beautiful Idaho mountains. And while I was there, I did pick up a few pine cones, and so I'm going to be using those in this DIY. For this project, you do want pine cones that have nice ends that aren't broken and smashed. And we're going to be making some faux succulents out of them. The pine cones I picked up were all basically the same, but for this DIY, I think it would be even better if you had a variety of different types of pine cones, and you'll see why here in just a minute. Before I get started, I do want to say this is not my original idea. I did get the idea from the website Sustain My Craft Habit, and this is a website with sisters Jane and Sonia that do this together. They have lots of great ideas, and I will link their website below, and they have a full step-by-step tutorial on how they made these succulents out of pine cones. And I basically just followed their steps, so I'm going to show you how mine turned out. To cut my pine cones, I will be using some garden shears or clippers, and to paint them, I'm using acrylic paint in several different shades of green, as well as a few other colors for accents. I did find cutting the pine cones to be a little bit challenging. They didn't cut as easily as I anticipated, and they tended to break apart in places where I didn't want them to. But after doing several of them, I kind of got the hang of it and trimmed them down to a size that I was happy with, that I thought looked like a succulent. I'm using the tops of the pine cones as well as the bottoms, and basically just kind of trimming out the middle part. And they do make kind of a big mess, so my little vacuum really came in handy for cleaning this up.
Here are my little pine cones all cut apart. I have lots of them. And right now they all look similar, just different sizes, but I think once I get them painted differently, they're going to really stand out. So let's get started with that. So here are the green colors that I have chosen to use, and then these are some of my accent colors, and I think these are going to be really pretty.
In the tutorial, they say just to start by painting each of your pine cones one solid color. So that's what I'm going to do for all of my pine cones.
So now that I have all of the base color on my pinecone succulents, I'm going to start adding some various colors just to layer on a little bit more detail and depth and make these look more realistic. So I'm going to be focusing on the centers of my succulents and also the outside edges for the places that I add the most detail and other colors to. So for this one, I'm going to add some pink to it, and I'm going to use just the regular pink. However, I think I'm going to add a little bit of white to it just to tone it down a little bit. And if you feel like it's a little bit too much, you can go back and grab a little bit of the original color and just kind of go brush a little bit over the pink as well. This is going to blend it more and tone it down a little bit more and just give it another kind of layer. Love that. I'm going to arrange my succulents on a tray, and if you want a budget-friendly option, this plastic tray from Dollar Tree is a good one. It has this wood grain, so it kind of has that natural feel, even though it's plastic, but the price was right. It's $1.25. At least it was when I got it. And then I'm going to add some forest moss. This is just some that I got from Walmart. I've had it on hand for a long time, so I'm just going to use that. And I'm just putting this down as kind of a base, and I will probably rearrange it as I go. Another way to make this look really natural and just bring some things from outside that you can just find in your yard or a park or out when you're camping are just some pieces of wood and some rocks. So I'll be adding some of those as well. And I usually put these types of things on first because out in nature, these would be like pretty much already on the ground, and then the plants would be growing up out around them. Then I will just start arranging my little succulents. You could also use a tray such as this one to display them in. Really, any kind of tray will work. It just depends on what the look is that you're going for. Another option is to use one of these planter bowls from Dollar Tree, and they are just a really nice size for displaying these. This one I have some of the faux succulents in from Dollar Tree, but you could use them for the pine cone succulents as well. And if you want to see what the faux succulents and the pine cone succulents look like next to each other, here they are. They don't look identical, of course, but if you want a really budget-friendly option, these pine cone succulents are fun to make. They're made of natural material that you can get for free, and it's just a fun DIY to do. I hope you enjoyed this video and these projects for using free items from nature to bring the outdoors in and create high-end decor for your home. I know I enjoyed making them and I love sharing them with you. If you have ideas or things that you have done, I would love to hear about them in the comments. If you did like this video, please hit that like button. It really helps me out. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell and set your notifications so that YouTube will notify you every time I upload a new video. And if you did enjoy this video, I will put another one of my favorites here so that you can watch that next. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day.